Welcome back to Python MC. In this section, we're going to create a play method that merges the insertMedia, fitMedia, and makeBeat functions into a single method called play with default or optional arguments. So we have this class media. It's got the constructor method, which simply takes sound and track and just creates self.sound and self.track as attributes. And then this def play, which is a method, the play method is simply going to raise an attribute error. So it's just a placeholder to make sure the programmer creates a play method for each child class of media. And if it doesn't, it'll raise this attribute error. So we have beat list, which inherits the constructor method from media, because you put media in parentheses, it inherits all these methods. And then it overwrites the played method. We overwrite it with a method that won't raise an error. This is a play method specifically for beat lists. We also now have this class called beat. It also inherits from media. And it's going to have this play method. And it's going to take self and start as required arguments. Self is always a required argument, and start is another required argument in this case. And then end and pattern will be optional arguments that have default values. So end equals 0 and pattern equals an empty string. Then we're going to use a conditional to call makeBeat, fitMedia, and insertMedia based on which arguments are passed when the method is called. So drum_1 is created by typing drum_1 equals beat, and this UK house main beat 4 is the beat, and track equals 1. So self.sound equals that beat, and self.track equals 1. If we use play with and only pass it a start number, start equals 1, then it will use insertMedia because you didn't give it the end method, variable, or the end argument, or the pattern argument. So it's just going to play that beat at measure 1 on track 1. If you say drum_1.play, start equals 1, end equals 16, that tells the play method to use fitMedia instead. So it's going to start on 1 and end on 16 on track 1. And then finally, if you say drum_1.play with start equals 1 with a pattern in the parentheses in quotes, then it will use makeBeat to play the beat with the beat pattern, starting on track 1 with that beat on measure 1. Okay, so now we need to create this conditional. It's first going to see if there's a makeBeat pattern. So if the pattern is not an empty string, then use makeBeat. An empty string, by the way, in Python is equal to false, which is a little trick. So you just need to follow the instructions up here and what we want to do. So if the pattern is not an empty string, then it uses makeBeat, and you got to figure out which arguments to pass to it. Elif the end value is greater than 0 is provided, so end is something other than 0, it's going to use fitMedia. And 0 in Python, by the way, is equal to false. It's the same thing as false. So elif the end value is greater than 0, then use fitMedia. So you need to figure out what the conditional is right there. So replace those question marks with the right conditional test or condition test, and then figure out which arguments to pass to fitMedia in this case. And then finally, just use insertMedia if none of these other conditions are true, and you just need to figure out what arguments to pass to fitMedia. Okay? So we have the solution right here. We're not going to show it to you yet, but if it works, then it should play perfectly fine. You'll notice we call this thing called makeBeat, and we'll use play, and sometimes we give it a start and an end. In other cases, we just give it a start, and sometimes we give it a start and a pattern. So, and depending on what we do, what arguments we pass, it'll either use fitMedia, makeBeat, or insertMedia. So if it works perfectly, we can play it and it'll do this. Okay, that's it. Now go ahead and figure this out. Figure out what conditional statement you need to put in here to make this thing work. Follow the instructions here in the description. Good luck. We'll see you again on Python MC. Python MC.